Bismillah Rahman Rahim. Students, today we are going to start a poetry. First of all, I will give you the brief introduction of Wordsworth as we are starting Wordsworth. Wordsworth belonged to the Romantic movement in English poetry. Generally because generally described as return to the nature. Nature for Pope stood for normal reality or something like the universal laws of reason. It was something internal and moral. Dr. Johnson characteristically asserted nothing can please many and please long, but just representation of journal nature. The Augustans were against indulgence in personal whims, eccentricities, and abnormalities because they were unnatural. Thus, their slogan, first follow nature, has to be interpreted in this light. When the Romantics shouted, return to nature, they meant the people should return to the external world of sights and sounds, such as trees, mountains, birds, peasants, and the sound of storms, birds, animals, etc. The Romantic movement in English poetry has not many facets. It's only two facets, and it implies something of political and philosophical primitivism, a general love of simplicity, and a corresponding distrust of sophistication. Number one, something like a political and philosophical primitivism, a general love of simplicity, and a corresponding distrust of sophistication. Number two, return to the sights and sounds of external nature, the world of the sun, stars, trees, plants, flowers, birds, meadows, forests, etc. His 18th century poet was urban, a drawing room poetry, as it did not concern itself with the beauties of nature. The Romantics, without any important exception, stood for a love of the sights and sounds of nature, and some even went to the external nature. To Wordsworth, nature became a guide, teacher, and friend to others. Also, nature came to have a deeper than physical significance. As I have already said, it is extremely appropriate to begin with Wordsworth, both because he is the senior most of all romantics and is the high priest of nature, to whom nature means more than she does to any other English poet. Nature to Wordsworth was everything. After his disillusionment with the French Revolution, he sought the healing power of nature. His increased interest in nature was thus partly because by his political frustration, the reign of terror in France sent him into the lap of nature. His desire to seek comfort in nature was not something unprecedented. It was unique, however, in its intensity and sincerity. Basselville observes In this connection, there was nothing new. It may be remarked, nothing very startling in the discovery that one can find peace and contentment in rural retirement. Wordsworth's attitude to nature continued changing throughout his life. It started with animal and sensuous pleasure and ended on a mystic note. God and nature became one for him. Nature became the universal spirit ready for guiding anyone who would care to be guided by her. Most of the rural characters he painted in his poetry are shown to be simple and uncorrupted mainly because of their close communion with nature. We are told in his poems as we can sort solitary reaper. Wordsworth believes that nature never aid betray the heart that love her. His advice to his sister is, therefore, let the moon shine on thee in thy solitary walk, and let the misty mountain winds be free to blow against thee. Lucy grew for 3 years in Sun and Bower and became a model child. The highest joy afforded by nature to the minds in perfect communion with her is of a mystic nature. It comes only rarely and lasts just a few moments. During such moments of supreme bliss, from what has been said, it is clear that so far as nature is concerned, Wordsworth, to quote opinion, was concerned far less with the sensuous manifestation that light most of our nature poets than with the spiritual that he finds underlying these manifestation. Now, beta, this one the introduction, brief introduction of the Wordsworth, and as you have seen in the poems, very beautiful poems as daffodils, as solitary reaper, and to the cuckoo. Recollection of the past is the traits of his poetry, and now we will discuss with the poems the whatever what type of poetry he has written and what recollection he has represented in his poem. Thank you.